Today, I'm going to make my case for why I think Rogue's Ohio Power Bar is still the king of power barbells for the majority of people, while acknowledging that the competition is heating up and there's some new contenders about to enter the stage. This is probably the most popular powerlifting barbell out there, and for good reason. Rogue is known for their bars, and to many people, this is the best one they make, but you need more than that to be the top bar out there. So we're going to make a few comparisons and talk about the various finish options Rogue offers, which is pretty extensive, but I think we've got them all covered. And we'll also spend a little extra time on this matte black finish because a lot of people have had issues with it, and I'll do my best to explain why I think this bar has earned its place at the top. This has been my primary bar for about 4 years, but as people who watch the channel know, I don't work out alone. My wife, wow. Solid start here, guys. My wife works out with me, and she's an absolute monster, which doesn't quite sound right. So let me backpedal that a little bit. I mean that in the she's super strong and really cute kind of way. Yeah, that ought to work. She does every lift I do, and she can put up some serious weight, which is a long-winded way of saying this bar has been used a lot. Everything I'm saying today seems to come out wrong. I'm just going to go back to my tried and true and make 30 shaft jokes in this one because I'm clearly not clever enough for anything else. What I mean to say is being my most used bar is an accomplishment because we've collected quite a few over the years. But this has been my go-to that entire time, and it's actually the only bar we own two of, and after paying full price on both, somehow my wife is still married to me. But this is the type of equipment I hope to hand down to my kids someday. It's that good, and if you've watched the channel for long enough and know me and my values, you know that's probably the nicest thing I've ever said in a review. I get a lot of crap for being brutal with companies, and that includes Rogue. I always say high prices create high expectations, but I think this is a bar that meets and exceeds them. Now, I'm not saying I've used every power bar out there and that this is the perfect bar for everyone, but I've had my hands on enough thick, stiff shafts to know what I like, and I've also read and watched just about every review on power bars out there. And I also spoke to who I consider to be the foremost expert on barbells, who's also much stronger than me, and that's Basement Brandon. And he told me that this is his favorite daily driver, and then added that it's the Budweiser of power bars, and that I should think up a better analogy, but well, here we are. So if you decide this video has entertained or helped you and you'd like to support the channel, then use my affiliate link because I'm sure as hell not impressing you with my lifts. Otherwise, use Brandon's link because we already got his $3 since he's a member of our Patreon, and he actually lifts and supports us for some reason after all of my abuse. So what does this bar do so well? Its biggest appeal is that it just doesn't do anything wrong. Rogue is using high quality material, matching it with a very good build quality, and selling it at a competitive price. I think the bare steel version is $315 shipped, and the E-coat and black zinc are like $330. Now, I'm not saying that's cheap, but you could check the Boneyard if you wanted to save a little bit more money. We actually have 3 Boneyard bars. I don't know where the third one is, but it's somewhere around here, and we've been impressed. But this is a bar that will probably outlast you, and the cheapest power bar I've ever recommended is the Bells of Steel Bare Naked bar. But this bar is better in basically every way, and Bell's imports their equipment, and this is made in Ohio with the other 47 variations of bars Rogue has put Ohio in the name of. This bar honestly just performs how you'd want and expect it to. You don't want a lot of spin, so the classic bronze bushings get the job done, and with a 29mm shaft diameter and 205K tensile strength, it's a stiff bar, meaning it has no real whip, and I can't really find anything wrong with it that isn't subjective. After a certain price point, if a company is using quality materials and manufacturing processes, these bars kind of all seem to become more and more similar in specs and performance. There's other factors like customer service, lead times, shipping, and warranty, but overall Rogue performs pretty well there. Sure, I've had my issues with them, but they eventually made it right. So in reality, your perfect bar is probably going to come down to your choice in finish or knurling. And the perfect knurl is subjective because we all have a different idea of what a good shaft should feel like in our hands, but Rogues in general are pretty good, which is why they're the basis of our cat tongue knurling system. And if you're new to the channel, you're in for a treat because with a newborn, I have plenty of time to look up pictures of cats on the internet at 3 a.m. since I haven't slept in weeks. So here goes. The Ohio bar is where we start counting in our system. It's a 0, which means it's good, but it's passive. There are bars out there that get a 1, but half of them are just trying to be like this bar and failing. The Ohio Power Bar is a 2, an aggressive knurl, but still comfortable once you adjust to it. This to me is the golden standard of knurls. It's a volcano style knurl that's very cleanly done. It's sticky and as close to universally accepted as the best knurl out there that we'll probably ever get. There are more aggressive bars out there, like my Texas Power Bar, for example, which has a sharper mountain style knurl, and it's a bar I really like and is similarly priced, but there's less finish options. Some people may be turned off by its 28.5mm shaft diameter, and the material and build quality isn't to the level of Rogue's, but its history and the fact that it's probably a big part of the reason this bar exists keeps calling me back to it. It's a great bar, it's just that the Ohio Power Bar kind of feels like an evolution of it. All right, let's talk about some of Rogue's various finish options because there's a ton of them. Now, personally, I think it feels best with a bare shaft, but bare steel has to be maintained. So if you don't want the responsibility that comes with going raw, your best bet is probably stainless, and that's what these two shafts have. It's expensive, but it's an excellent finish, not only because of its longevity and corrosion resistance, but it doesn't affect the knurling like a Cerakote or another coating would, where they'll fill in the knurling some. Now, Cerakote does have good corrosion resistance and can be done in all kinds of cool colors and designs, but it's really not a good finish for a sleeve. There I'd probably go chrome, stainless, or maybe even try their matte black, which we'll talk about more in a second. You've also got black, zinc, and e-coat, and they're decent finishes and some of your cheaper options, but they wear pretty easily, as you can see on my Ohio bar. All right, now for the proprietary matte black, which is the only finish I'm not entirely sure of. Now, while it's held up pretty well so far, it's only been like 3 months, not years like this has. So whatever it is they're doing to the sleeves, it's supposed to harden the steel, increase its corrosion resistance, and I've been told that that black penetrates pretty deep, so it's supposed to keep its coloring better than a coated finish like a Cerakote. Rogue now notes that this finish creates a little more friction when loading plates, and I found it's a little louder as well, but if I wasn't specifically paying attention to those things, I'm not sure I'd have noticed, and I've had no issues getting plates on and off the sleeves, and I've tried a ton of this thing, so I think a lot of those issues were probably from the first run of CB4s where the sleeves are off, but I tried Bell's bumpers, urethanes, calibrated, deep dish, urethanes, various vintage plates. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's so nice of him to spend all his free time being really thorough in these videos, but the truth is, I don't have the self-confidence to handle being bullied in the comments, so I go overboard in every video so I don't have to deal with the, actually, guy. Anyway, I tried all those, but the only ones that probably matter are my Stranco plates, because the hole is the tightest on the market, which is what keeps me coming back, but even they worked fine. I even took my calipers to them and checked a few spots on both sleeves of the Ohio Power Bars, my deadlift bar, my Bella bar, and my Ohio bar, and they were, for all practical purposes, identical. That being said, it does seem like the sleeves with that increased friction can grind on some plates' hubs, so you may end up with some junk on your sleeves. It's not a big deal because I'm used to cleaning my shaft after a good workout, but not really my sleeves. I guess I should probably show you what I mean. I really planned this out well. You might be able to see it on this side. It almost looks kind of worn down, like the finish is getting ground off, but on this side, I actually cleaned it before I filmed, and you can see the difference where it pretty much looks brand new. Now, there's a lot of power bars out there and more to enter the scene, so don't call me out in the comments a year from now if I change my mind. You've got the aggro bars if you want a more aggressive knurling, and Rogue, of course, has the kilogram version of this, which is IPF approved, which is great if you compete, but I don't, because it's not about how much you lift, it's about how cool you look doing it, and unfortunately, I don't really do well with either. It's more limited in finish options, but has a little bit longer loadable sleeve length because of the reduced collar size. Of course, those smaller collars are going to pull the plates in a little closer to your rack. So if you have a walkout like Winnie's, well, I've made that joke. That's not really a joke. So many times I'm really probably starting to push my luck like she is when she smashes up my rack. With my sea of barbells, if I had to pick one bar to train with for the rest of my life, this is it, and it's not a hard decision. Now, ask me that question in a year or two, and I'm not sure I give the same answer. I've been talking to a lot of companies, and I think this is going to be a big year for power bars. So hit that subscribe button because we'll be reviewing some big offerings. If you want some of that insider info, you can check out our Patreon, which is where we reveal a lot of the things we've got going on before they make it here. Links in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe to help us on the algorithm. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next week.